Welcome to another episode of Reloader 2001. First, I want to say Merry Christmas. I'm filming this on Christmas Eve. Hopefully I'll have this produced and uploaded to YouTube in the next couple days. And Happy Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, or whatever else that you might, celebrate yourself, everyone else that's out there. Today I want to talk about either buying or building an AR-15. Being that it's the holidays, prices couldn't be much better. You can get into the AR-15 extremely inexpensive. And if you've never owned an AR-15, the first I'm going to discuss is purchasing an AR-15. There's a lot of good choices, and you can find AR-15s probably under $400. But there's a few things that you're going to have to expect or realize when you're getting into, the basement line of AR-15s. So they're going to be mil-spec rifles. Mil-spec, quite honestly, is not that great. You're looking at mil-spec for a trigger is, I think, between 7 to 10 pounds, maybe 6. And then accuracy, I think, is acceptable as like 3 or 4 inches, so a fairly good sized group, 3 or 4 MOA, inches at 100 yards, which is, if you're looking for self-defense, even at 4 inches, it's still a pretty good accuracy for self-defense. Are you going to be winning competitions at long range? Absolutely not. But is that what you're really buying the rifle for a $400 rifle? Your expectations, are going to have to be, what you're going to expect. Like this rifle right here. This is a sub $400 rifle. This is a Delaton. Now, it didn't start off looking like this. I did make some changes to it, and that's the great thing about getting an AR-15 that you already have. You'll have a baseline to look at when you build your next AR. Like this one started off with just a standard A2 grip. I have added a bipod and an optic on it. But even with these few extra, I'm still probably under $700. And I'm actually getting a lot better performance. Because when I first purchased this rifle, I was getting about a 3-inch group. It was shooting about 3 MOA. And I wanted better than that. So first thing I did was changed out to a free-floated handguard. And then another really inexpensive thing that works extremely well is these little wedges called Corizon Wedges. I don't know if you can see that little piece of red right in there. All this is pretty much a little piece of rubber that you put in and helps sure up and reduce the movement between the upper and lower. Because when I first got this, you took it and you shook it, it rattled like crazy. There was a lot of movement between the upper and lower. This just kind of helps tighten that up a little bit, and it did make a big difference in accuracy. The way this rifle is set up now, I'm getting on average 1.5 MOA, which for starting off with a sub $400 gun, I'm extremely happy with. I'm not going to expect any more out of this rifle than a 1.5 MOA. If you want a sub MOA gun, you're going to be looking. I'd have to change out the barrel. I'll have to change out. This would easily become over $1,000 to get this to go to sub MOA. But for what I'm using it for, this works great. For squirrels, small game hunting is what I use this for. And it's extremely good. Also, it's just a lot of fun to plink with at the range. But also, once you get that base, the AR-15, you can also change calibers. There's a lot of good manufacturers out there that offer, just uppers. So you can just pop these two pins. And I can go from a .223 gun to, like, say, a 300 blackout, or even a little more ridiculous, if like this right here is a Bear Creek Arsenal 458 SOCOM. Shoots a monstrous round. But, you know, this $400 rifle, I just went from 223 to 458 SOCOM. Now I got lucky. I found this Bear Creek Arsenal complete upper. It was the bolt carrier group upper charging handle. All I had to do is put an optic on it. It was, I think, $320 for a complete upper in 458 SOCOM. You can actually even change, like, find 300 blackout uppers in that. So if you want to have different calipers, it makes it very inexpensive, as long as you want to stick with just a single blower. You can experiment with different calibers and really not spend a whole lot. And another bonus of when you purchase a rifle is warranties. Unlike building, you'll have warranties on particular parts of that rifle, but you will not have a warranty on a complete rifle. When you purchase a complete rifle, especially when you go up, increase your budget up to like a $600 rifle, you start getting into like your Smith & Wesson M&Ps, excellent rifles, the Ruger AR-15s. They're very good rifles. I'd say Springfield, but I'm not real happy with Springfield. You know, but there's a lot of very good reputable manufacturers, some of the bigger names in firearms that are making AR-15s in the $600 range, and the warranties are going to be excellent. If there's ever a problem with any of your rifles, you can call the manufacturer, email them, and they will either replace it or repair it. Like, I'll show you a quick video clip here of a Radical firearm, which again is a budget line gun of a 300 blackout. I had a trigger issue where I had the gun for about a year and a half, and all of a sudden, one range shot, when I started testing my silencer, it fired when I released the trigger. Something was going on wrong with the trigger. I emailed Radical Firearms. Literally the same day, they sent me a shipping label. I shipped it to them in about a week and a half. I had my rifle back repaired, and it works great. Quite honestly, I think the trigger's better now than it was. And that's the bonuses that you're going to have, you know, with purchasing an AR. You're going to have a warranty along with it, and you'll have a little bit more peace of mind. The drawback is you're not always going to get the exact rifle you want, or you could have saved a little bit more money if you build it yourself. So, which brings me into building an AR. First thing, when you're building an AR, you're going to need patience if you want to build it extremely inexpensively. And also a little bit of a thick skin. Because if you're looking at a budget, you go onto like Facebook forums for AR-15 building, you're going to have the AR snobs that think only the best of the best is what is to go on the AR. If you do anything else, it's garbage. Like this right here. This was a Black Friday buy. Anderson lowers. Quite honestly, I think they're very good. You can find them extremely inexpensively. This was a Black Friday at my local gun shop for, I think it was $45. I know online I could have found them for $30, but after shipping and doing the transfer at my FFL, it would have been a little bit more. So it was actually even cheaper to go to my local gun shop, which I do recommend supporting your local shops besides just doing completely online. And sometimes if you ask, you can even get better prices. Some gun shops, you can haggle with them a little bit. Not all of them. Some, you know, the price tag is what the price tag is. Especially the larger ones, you know, if you're looking at Gander Mountain Bass Pro Shop, don't even bother. But some of the smaller mom and pop gun shops, a little bit haggling can actually go a long way, especially when you're trying to be on the budget side. But you go and post that on Facebook, there's going to people going to be tearing you apart that Andersons are garbage. And quite honestly, they're not. But also, you also have to be willing to take some risks. Like this right here is my pistol build. This is probably a little over $400. So it's about what I paid for that Dileton. But I got to make this exactly the way I wanted it right off the back. Now, I did take some risks with this. One thing I did not risk on, but I did find an extremely good price, was the arm brace. There's some Chinese manufacturing that has ones that look like this, but I didn't want to risk having a piece of plastic breaking off and jagging me in the shoulder. I wanted something quality here. But a lot of this is I took some risks on, especially the handguard. I got the handguard from wish.com. Basically, it was Chinese. It's a Chinese manufactured handguard. It only cost $20 for the handguard. And even the flip-up sights, they're $12. These are billeted aluminum sights. Actually, I've been extremely impressed with them. And for $12, they hold 0. I've been extremely impressed as well. So you have to be willing to take some chances. But if you want to go a little bit more expensive, you can. When you're building an AR, you can pretty much buy all the exact parts that you want and spend pretty much exactly what you'd want in an AR and get the performance you want. Like that rifle I just had, I did do a 2-gun match, and I finished in probably the top 10%, which was a lot better than I expected to do. It was my very first match, and I was competing against people that were running, you know, those 2, 3, even a $4,000 ARs, you know, Steyr AUGs, Tavors. There's all types of, you know, semi-auto, and there was a few full auto select fire guns there that were way better than mine, but they still placed a lot less. It's more about the shooter than the gun. And the other thing is, you got to be patient when you're building firearms. Like this one here, it took me a 1.5 years to get all the parts for this one. Because I believe it was like, I found the buffer tube and spring was like $12. The lower parts kit I got from Midway when they had a really good sale a while ago. It was like $29. I think the most expensive thing I paid on this particular rig was the bolt carrier group. As I got an M4 bolt carrier group for $100, which nowadays, like Panamato State Armory, and there's a lot, you can find bolt carrier groups for like $60, even $50. I don't know if I'd go that low, but you can find even cheaper out there. Another thing I will go take chances on are red dot sights. Red dots, you set them and you leave them at that one setting. You don't change them around. You're not changing your dope on them. And the inexpensive, like this one, again, was a wish.com. I took a chance on it, and quite honestly, I really like this one. It cost, I think it was like $25 for a red dot sight. And it was extremely good. Now, on the other hand, Magnified Optics, I won't go to the cheap Chinese stuff, or no name. I did with my very first AR. I did, you know, get the whole Wonder scope that was supposed to be amazing for like $50. Quite honestly, this thing is horrible. The adjustments on them are not that great. The crosshairs are extremely thick. I'd probably put this on a 22 just for the fun of it. But actually, even Amazon, I got this through Amazon, and my first one I had on it was on that 300 blackout. It shook it apart. It literally fell apart on the rifle after, I think, 25 rounds. This one's been held up a little bit better, but I quickly changed it to a Vortex. And trust me, spending extra money on Magnified Optics, I'm a big fan of Vortex now. Probably almost every rifle I do, I put a Vortex or similar quality on it now for Magnified Optics. That's the one place I don't really like to compromise. Because I'm sure almost anyone that can tell you when they got their first AR, they got one of these things, you know, it has a laser on it, and it had a cool factor, and I didn't know any better at the time. Now this kind of just sits in my reloading room as a reminder. I might, if I do a 22 build, I might put it on a 22, because I know it won't get shooken apart. But it's not going to be a magnified optic I'm going to put my life on. And that's another thing is, as long as you have your expectations and you make the rifle or you purchase the rifle for what you want to do with it. If you want just self-protection, if you want precision, building a rifle, you can build it to whatever way you want. And also a barrel is a good part of that. That's probably where you want to spend most of your money. I got lucky and got most of my barrels were between $70 to $100. You can go all the way up to like $400 or $500 for a barrel, and that's the heart of your accuracy is your barrel. If you want better accuracy, you want to spend more money in your barrel. But that pretty much sums it up. For building an AR, if you're going to be doing it on the cheap, the biggest thing is patience. Wait for the sales. Midway USA actually has some good sales. ClassicFirearms.com, they have some really good sales as well. I just ordered a low parts kit from them. I think it was like $20 or $30, I think. $35 or $36 for a lower parts kit right now, which is good enough for that Anderson lower that I'm doing. And there's a lot of other ones. If you just do searches and be patient, figure out where the low point is, where the high point is, you know, for each. Look at your customer reviews. That makes a big difference as well. And don't be afraid to take a chance on things like Amazon and Wish. I actually, for Handguards, granted they're key mod, I'd prefer to have M-Lock, but $20 for a Handguard with a gas block, it was pretty darn good, and I was impressed. I had very low expectations on what I was going to get, and they're a lot better quality than I expected. Now, granted, you might get one, and depending what manufacturer, it might be like a cheese grater on your hand. But nice thing is, at least it was only $20. And if you take your time, like that one took me a year and a half to put together, the cost is not as noticeable. It's a little bit easier to handle the cost of the AR-15 when you spread it over a longer time. The only drawback is you don't get to shoot it right away. Like buying an AR-15. And the last drawback about building is your warranties. You're going to have warranties on individual parts, but you're not going to have a warranty on the actual complete unit. So, you know, getting warranty repair stuff might be a little bit more difficult. But the biggest thing is, with building an AR, you can build it exactly the way you want. I got exactly what I wanted when I built my pistol build, and I was very happy with it. I'm only getting about 2 MOA groups, but I built that rifle for 50 yards and less, and 2 MOA is more than sufficient for what I wanted to use the rifle for. And again, thank you. If you have any questions, leave a comment below. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.